they're very demanding would be a good way to put it, for a very good reason. Their life depends on the quality of that ammunition. The policeman on the street, if that doesn't work when he needs it to, he could die, or someone he's protecting could die. The same way with our soldiers. The employees here are very aware of that fact. We got into the military business in 1996 when we won our first Army Marksmanship Unit contract, and within 3 years after that we had all of the 5.56 ammunition marksmanship contracts for all of the services. All of the 5.56 match ammunition was produced by Black Hills Ammunition. And then shortly after that we got in an opportunity to make combat ammunition. And the military said, "Jeff, this is sensitive. It's not classified, but we appreciate your discretion on advertising. Don't use this as an advertising factor." And that was back when we first started for a very specific project. And then later on, it became more known. They released the information. But when it first started, we were so careful about that information that we initially didn't tell the employees that it was combat ammunition, just the supervisors. It was simply a matter of how things were packaged. And then after the military lifted some of the secrecy and let us talk to people, we explained to all of the people in the plant, soldiers' lives depend on what we're doing here. And I'm sure it caused a lot of them to really evaluate it. And I've had some of the employees speak about what a great responsibility that is, and how they've had to grapple with the fact that if they make a mistake, it could cost someone their life. On the other hand, the biggest compliment we've ever received came from the Navy when they called one day and said, "Jeff, you have to understand what Black Hills Ammunition is doing here. The quality of what you're producing compared to what our soldiers would have had to use is saving American lives." And there's really no greater compliment than that. People can call up, and we really appreciate the stories from customers where they say, "This works wonderfully with my rifle. I shot a trophy mule deer with it, or I shot a world record," which that's happened frequently. But compared to the Navy calling and saying what you're doing is saving American lives, all those are good, but they don't measure up to that. I was in law enforcement for 3 years full-time on the Rapid City Police Department, and when we had an opportunity to buy into Black Hills Shooter Supply when it first started, a friend of mine started that company and needed somebody to hand load for him, or not to hand load, but to run they were hand-operated presses at that time. And so I started doing that as a third job. I was a full-time cop, and then I was security at one of the motels, and then I would hand load or run the hand-operated loading machine in my spare time, which wasn't much of that. And then after that, when we went into business full-time, when we had an opportunity to buy into the company, it's being a cop is something that's hard to give up doing. Once you've started doing it, it's part of who you are. So what I did was go into business, but remain active in law enforcement as a reserve officer, and I've been a reserve officer since then. I was a year on the PD Reserve, and then ever since then I've been on the Sheriff's Office Reserve, and then I'm also currently a member of the Special Response Team. So that takes up most of my time, and it's a great hobby, being able to make a living running a successful business, and at the same time doing something that I've always enjoyed, being a cop. I always said that if I could have made a reasonable wage being a cop, I'd still be doing it. I admire officers greatly, but I think many times they're asked to do and sacrifice many things without adequate compensation.